欢迎来到晨话美国。今天呢，我们是在尼克松总统博物馆。那我身边的这位呢，是我们的 Joe。Joe 呢是尼克松总统博物馆的 Marketing and Communication Vice President。Joe，你好。
中国朋友你好。Welcome to the Nixon Library.
Perfect Chinese. That's awesome. Okay. I'm so glad to be here today, so I can have an experience about the whole life of President Nixon.
That's right. Well, the Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum is located in Southern California, Orange County, just like Disneyland and LA. We're very close. And so we get a lot of visitors from all over the country, but also all over the world because of President Nixon's story has a worldwide reach. That's right. And so the Nixon Library really tells the story of President Nixon's life and career from the beginning till the end. His birthplace, the home where he was born is here. The whole story of his life and his presidency is here. You could even see the Oval Office, which we'll see later. And then his final resting place is here at the Nixon Library.
Okay. I'm so excited to visit this place. I'm going to let Joe take us to have a tour of the President Nixon's library. Let's go.
Great.
This is the President Nixon used to work. Right?
That's right. That's right. So this is the Wilson desk, and as a guest of the Nixon Library, you can sit here, you can take a picture here behind the desk, pick up the phone.
Okay, Hi, President. This is so fun. And this is the pen that used to sign the...
That's right. That's right. And if you look in the desk here, there's some of the items, some of President Nixon's personal items here. There's a pair of his glasses.
Okay.
And when visitors would come to the Oval Office, these are some of the items that he would give to special guests.
Oh.
But there were many famous moments of the Nixon presidency here in the Oval Office. From this desk, President Nixon called Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon.
On the moon.
As they were on the moon, President Nixon was sitting here and he was able to talk to them on the moon.
Okay.
There was another famous meeting with Elvis Presley here in the Oval Office, a secret meeting. But the picture of Elvis Presley and President Nixon would become one of the most famous photos in our National Archive. And President Nixon gave many addresses to the American people from this desk. Richard Nixon and his family lived here in Yorba Linda until he was 10 years old. And that's when the family moved to Whittier, California. So a lot of people think he was born and raised and grew up in Whittier. In fact, when Yorba Linda is the location.
Is the original place.
That's right.
For 10 years.
That's right. And so, you know, he's associated with Whittier because he went to grade school in Whittier, high school, college, and then when he was elected to Congress for the first time, it was in Whittier, California.
When we mention about Nixon Library, we actually have two parts. The first part is Nixon Library in the physical location here. The second part is what we call from Whittier to the White House. It's a bus tour, driving around the Whittier.
Oh, I saw that tour on the website.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Joe. Right now we are at the garden here. I know behind the garden there's a house. It's very special, right?
That's right. So we're here in the gardens of the Nixon Library. And behind us, we're going to go see it in a moment, is the original home where Richard Nixon was born, January 9th, 1913, on this location here in Yorba Linda, California.
1913.
That's right.
That's like 100-something years. That's where President Nixon was born.
That's right. President Nixon was born in that house, and we can go see the house today.
Okay.
And just maybe 25 feet away is the final resting place of President Nixon and First Lady Pat Nixon. So his entire life, the beginning and end, and everything in between are here at the Nixon Library.
I'm so excited to see the birthplace of President Nixon. Let's go.
So this is the home, the original home where Richard Nixon was born, January 9th, 1913. And the home was built by Richard Nixon's father, Frank Nixon, from a kit. Everything was pre-cut and prefabricated. Not many people lived here, so it looked very different than it was back then. This is the exact location built, and the library was built around the home. So in the 1980s, when President Nixon was trying to decide where to build the presidential library, the home was here. It has always been here. And so once this land became available, President Nixon said, Yorba Linda is the location for my presidential library. And we're very unique among the presidential libraries in that we have the birthplace, the presidential library and the presidential papers, and the final resting place all in one location.
Okay.
So every visitor that comes to the Nixon Library gets to see inside the house and see the furniture. Over 75% of the furnishings in the home belong to the Nixon family, so they get to see the furniture, the piano that he learned how to play piano on, and get a sense for what his upbringing was like. We've estimated that more than 4 million people have gone through this house in 30 years that the Nixon Library has been here.
So awesome. I can't believe from the birthplace to the place where he got buried. That's next to each other. That's the whole life of President Nixon.
And he's a leader who traveled all over the world, to the Soviet Union, to China, to the Middle East. And for the story to begin and end here is really remarkable. That one man who was born the son of a farmer here in Orange County could grow up to change the world.
President Nixon is one of the most famous presidents for a lot of Chinese people. They remember when he stepped out the airplane to China, landed to China, had a famous handshake with Prime Minister Zhou Enlai.
And it did. It changed the world, absolutely.